Hi, it's just me right now. Can somebody tell me if my headphones are working this time? Last time they didn't sound too good. Okay. Um, let's see. Hey, can you know why my hook ass I 160s and every single time this working this week it was just because can you all hear if you can hear me? Good now. Wait off. I don't have my headphones. Please, thank you. How is this better? How's this? I don't know why my head. I'm just.
Hi.
Okay, do I silly?
You sound super weird.
I'm gonna try on my. Literally don't know what's never happened before. Just try it on my phone.
What the fuck?
Is that her or the TV?
That was her.
Or the camera?
Shit.
Alright, I'll be back.
Do you have headphones, Sarah? Martha said, Hannah said. Oh, now it's echoing.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, that's better. Now you sound.
Is that fine? I don't know what the fuck is up with my laptop. Wait, let me.
I just tried to connect to. I have a really nice camera that I got, and it won't work. So.
Dude, right? Like this shit happened last week, but last time, at least when I took the headphones out, it was fine. Let me try to plug my AirPods in because you're really quiet. Hold on. Okay.
Now is it better?
Is it fine? Hannah, can you hear me? If you can hear me normal,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, then I think everyone's fine. Okay, well, I guess I'll just have to do it on my fucking phone, like a fucking imbecile that didn't spend $200. See, the lighting on the phone is not as good. I hate that. Okay, whatever. We'll make it work. All right.
Well, you're back. Hi. Good to see you.
I'm sort of back. I'm back enough. You know, I was like, when I'm talking with like my actual friends on like a live stream, it feels a little bit more personal and you're not getting sucked into like the social media bubble. But I've had a really good week away from the internet. I've been learning a lot about myself
Good. What
and
have you
I
learned?
can, well, let's see. How can I sum this up? I had a friend. Well, if you guys don't know, also I'm wearing my DeSantis 2024 shirt today just because I haven't been problematic in like a week, so I'm craving some, you know, toxicity. So I'm like, let's fucking wear DeSantis. um, yeah. So okay, I lost all my friends about 6 weeks back when my account just started kind of because you know eventually you're gonna get like big enough on Twitter that your account is just gonna start popping up, and at that point anybody can see it. So yeah, I lost pretty much all of my friends due to, you know, we talked about this last week on the live stream, the cancel party, but it was the same friends, but they haven't been talking to me for a long time. And I had one friend, we'll call him Juan because he's Mexican and I like to stereotype Mexicans. His name is Juan. Okay.
He's at it again.
Come on, I'm so problematic. But Juan stopped talking to me, and I kind of lost it a little bit. I went a little bit manic, and it wasn't even specifically that like he stopped talking to me, but it was like he gave me a sense of like actually just being a normal person. Like we would hang out, you know, and like he didn't necessarily care about like my Twitter or my politics. Like he could put up with my jokes. It's nice to have people like away from like politics and the internet that you're like friends with, you know, like he didn't care about any of that stuff at all. Like he would sometimes joke around, like when he'd see me on Twitter, like, how's your liberty thought shit? But like he didn't, it was like a joke, right? So it's like, it's nice to have people that just make you feel like a normal person. And like, I didn't really appreciate that at the time that we were hanging out. And then he got mad at me and stopped talking to me because men are idiots. And yeah, I just really felt like I was getting myself sucked into this like deep hole of like only identifying with politics and like the internet and having like a Twitter, and like I just didn't want to go down that path. So I needed to find myself again. I needed to go on a little spiritual journey.
We love
But
it.
yeah, no, I'm doing fine. I just really needed a break from politics and from that whole like internet persona, because you don't want your internet persona to become like your real life persona, you know? Like you gotta separate the two. So
Definitely. I just got my camera to work. Sorry, I was listening, but do I look better now?
yeah, sorry. Okay, so yeah, you froze. I wasn't sure if you. Yeah, you look great. I love it.
Thanks. Patrick, can you turn the fire on?
Real quick, I do have some more things. I love that you have a fire.
I know.
Before I do anything else talking about social media, I just want to give a shout out to Olivia Rondo because it's her birthday.
Oh yes,
So happy birthday, Olivia Rondo. I love you. She was like one of my first friends that I met from the internet, and she's awesome. Like, so I'm just gonna take a shot for her because she's the best. Cheers to Olivia Rondo.
I don't have anything to drink, but I have water, so cheers. I know that's probably bad luck.
There we go. It works.
Do we have wine? Do we have any good wine?
Just drink the cheap shit. The cheap shit gets the job done.
I know. There's like a whole actual like
Oh.
rack of wine, but it's all red wine. I might do it just to do it.
I'm sorry for how unfucking professional this is. Courtney is coming onto the stream, but I closed my laptop. Here. Wait. Okay.
Yes, Core.
I can't
There
hear
we
you guys.
go.
I don't
Is that
know. I
working?
don't know why my sound's not working. I might have to reload this.
We can.
Dude,
oh,
yeah.
we can hear you.
Everyone. I'm gonna fucking contact StreamYard and tell them they're being stupid. Okay.
Red, maybe.
You said not red.
No, I'm okay with red. Do we have a Pinot? Anything Pinot that says Pinot Noir?
Okay. Is it working?
There it is. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
we
hear
can hear
you.
you. Can you hear us?
Zach is here. He said he's late. So are we.
Zach, it's okay. We haven't done much. Yeah, our fucking sound was sounding like. Oh, okay. I won't make too problematic of jokes. I'm trying to chill. That's also the other thing is I'm trying to like chill a little bit because like a lot of the time, like my jokes and my humor, they get taken out of context, and it's like this isn't funny if like because I'm one of those people that's like funny like in the moment situationally. Okay, like for example, this is the other thing I noticed about social media is everybody can take your fucking shit out of context, right? So yesterday I was on Snapchat. That was like the one app that I didn't delete, and I was like making fun of people from Nebraska because, or was it, no, it was Arkansas. I was just in a mood to make fun of people from Arkansas, and I was like talking in a southern accent. And like one of the things I said was like yeehaw white supremacy. And I'm like, can you imagine if somebody just took that of me saying yeehaw white supremacy out of context, you know? Like then it's like just like not funny anymore. And then it's like I have to explain myself, and it's just like I don't know if I'm mentally in the right state right now to be fucking problematic. Like I don't want the stress. I just want like
I mean, if you are going to make fun of a state,
you know?
Arkansas is a pretty good one to make fun of, though,
That's
to be
what
fair.
I'm saying. Like, I have beef with Arkansas. Like, that's what I was making fun of. I was like, most Southerners get a bad rep, but if you're from Arkansas, you're a cousin fucking white supremacist. Like, I don't have anything else to say about it.
Sarah, I'm not going to be problematic. Sarah, 2 seconds later.
I'm sorry if you're from Arkansas, but like.
Wait. We can give
definitely
Arkansas
suck
a
your
hard
cousin.
time since that's where the Clintons are from. So.
Oh, good. See,
fair.
I knew there was a reason in my soul that like I didn't like Arkansas, and that's probably why. So. Oh Lord.
Also, a big shout out to one of my followers this week because I actually have a better setup now. I have a tripod for my phone, which is fantastic. So big shout out to them. I don't think they wanted me to like mention their app, but yeah, this is so much better.
Good too. I know. Yeah, and you're like still like we're all still. I'm gonna try not to touch my hair so much this week. Like everyone knows that I have like raging ADHD, and like last week I was watching back the live stream, and it was literally just like this, like every 2 seconds. I'm gonna try to not touch my hair so much, but it's just like really hard to like sit here and do nothing.
I did it too. I was noticing that. I was like, someone commented like, "There's so much hair touching this week." It's like, oh shit.
I'm sorry. Like literally, I'll try not to touch it. I'll like pull my shirt or something. I gotta do something, but I'll try not to touch my hair. I'm sure that's very annoying.
I don't know what this is. What am I drinking? Willamette Valley Vineyards.
Ooh, nice.
Chug it. Chug. No, I honestly like the only reason that I'm drinking on these live streams is one, because we already talked about how I have no friends anymore. So this is basically my social life. Two, it's also always a Friday. So like, why am I not going to drink on a Friday? Like if we did this shit on a Monday, I would not be drinking, but like, it's a Friday. What do you expect from me? This is like,
we're here to hang out.
This is my interaction. Exactly.
We're here to have a good time.
Hanging out.
I am drinking Earl Grey tea, but you know, but tomorrow like, is my friend's birthday, and I'm gonna have like actual drinks tomorrow.
That's
so I'm like, I don't want any tonight. So
right, yeah. Some of us try to like not drink all the time, like Courtney, which is good. I really don't drink all the time. I really don't. I just like drink socially, and like this is my social life. So there you go. We're getting drunk on live streams.
Oh, Chris Brown. I'm looking at the Twitter trending topics right now. Chris Brown is being for allegedly R-wording a woman on a yacht. That's good.
That's really bad. You know, I like Chris Brown. Like, I like his music. I think he's a very talented dancer. He's a good singer. He's a handsome young fella. But like, man, just like, why you gotta R-word? Like, you already beat up Rihanna. Like, honey, you could have beat me up voluntarily, and I would have let you. Why the fuck you gotta beat up Rihanna? You know, it's like
right, Sarah.
Right.
Sarah, I just realized I didn't post the link, and you didn't post the link either. Should I go post the link right now?
Can you copy it from Hannah, because I have to be on my phone because my MacBook is being retarded and like it's not getting good sound, but apparently the phone works. So
okay, BRB, like let me go post that, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm Joe Exotic got what? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I had some topics of conversation that were unrelated to Twitter because like I just haven't been on Twitter, so I'm curious to know like what's been happening in like the political spectrum and like
honestly, I haven't been on this much either because like this week because it was my last week at my law firm. I start my new job on Monday.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't really been. I know that the Supreme Court Justice retired. I'm not gonna try to pull his name out of my ass because I'll totally butcher it. But I think Juliana wanted to talk about that when she hopped on. So
we'll wait for that. I saw Joe Biden. Facebook is also because like I won't lie. Sometimes I find myself just needing to just go on some social media app. My Snapchat actually got nuked. I don't know. I don't really care. It's Snapchat. Someone tried to like hack me. Like I got an email that was like someone tried to hack you, and then like 15 minutes later, or like someone tried to sign in, right? And then 15 minutes later, they were like, your account's been permanently banned. I was like, okay, well, that's fucking gay, but whatever. It's just Snapchat. Like,
did someone like get in and like post something to get you banned?
Maybe, yeah. I have no idea. Like, nobody ever texted me anything weird. Like, hey, your Snapchat looks like it got hacked, but it's gone. So, but it's fine. I really don't like. Snapchat's been at that point where it's just been like showing me memories of like my ex-boyfriend, and I'm like, I don't really need to see this anyway, so it's fine. I'll just fucking get rid of it. I don't know. It's just like one of those apps that like I would find myself going on just because I needed something to do. Like I've been really good about like not using my phone, but like sometimes I'm like, all right, what's the tea? I've been seeing like Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson fucking Snapchat news stories, and then I'm like, why am I watching this? What is this doing for my life? Why do I need to hear about Pete Davidson? But sometimes you just gotta do some mindless shit. I've been reading though. I've been reading Ayn Rand, obviously. It's pretty good.
What are you reading right now?
I'm reading Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, and then I'm also reading And the Fed by Ron Paul, but not gonna lie, it gets my little pea brain like, what's exactly happening here sometimes, and I gotta like, it's one of those books I really have to like think about when I'm reading it. So there's that. Let me let Courtney back in.
I need to start reading again. I have so many books on my shelf. I started Basic Economics by Sal. It's actually good. Like, it's not boring. I was just reading like bits and pieces here. I probably got like 100 pages in. I think it's like 600 pages long. But
wow.
Yeah, it's not as boring as I thought. I think I got a D in economics in high school because it was just not.
Like, yeah, that's the thing is like, I feel like economics is relatively interesting, but like not the way that they like teach it to you.
Especially in high school. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But now that I'm like reading that, I have to pick it back up again and like get back into it. But it's pretty interesting. We're talking about Basic Economics by Sal.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually really enjoyed my economics classes, and I like had such a cool professor when I took microeconomics. I remember when I can't remember his name, but when I took it, he would like, for his examples, he always liked to use like butter was one of the examples that he'd like to use, and guns. And it's like, okay, if you have this much butter and you're going to trade for this much guns. And I don't know why he liked that, but that's like what he liked to use as his examples.
Like, fun terms for me.
Yeah, he was like super young. It was great. He was like probably like not even 30 yet. And I don't know, he was cool. So wherever you are, you were a cool economics professor. And at least I came to your class most of the time.
It's always the young teachers. Yeah, right. I took a economics class. I ended up dropping out because I just felt like I was just not interested in it. But Blakey. We love you too, Blake.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that I didn't text you back. We were literally because like Blake is a Chiefs fan. Oh, by the way, announcement. Let me finish this first though. Okay, so Blake is like a Chiefs fan, so we were texting about the game, and then I just fucking did not even text him back. But I was driving home from Reno. But I'm sorry, but I did see your message, and yes, we will go to a Cowboys game. That would be fun as fuck. I'm very excited, but. That was my other thing is I got into the NFL. Like I just I sent Hannah a picture, I was like, look, I'm studying the NFL. And
she had no.
I want like,
no.
you know, okay, because here's one of the things. Okay, this is what I've noticed too, is like being so involved in politics and like on political Twitter. And I said a little bit earlier that like it made me feel like I was being more hateful to just everybody, you know, like I just would go around like seeing the world as like a divided place, like, oh, that person has their mask, they're a fucking liberal, oh, they have their nose hanging out, like they're cool, like it's just, I don't like seeing the world as this like divided like political sphere, right? And yeah, thank you. But yeah, I just needed to chill on social media for that reason, because it was also like it's nice to just have like a normal person hobby where like I know I could just like go to the bar and like, hey, sports ball, let's fucking talk about the Niners and the Rams. Like it's not just like a normal common thing that you can have with somebody to talk about and like see them as a normal person and not just see the world as such a divided place, right? Because do you guys remember like politics used to divide everybody this much? I feel like it didn't. I don't know what it is about nowadays, but
I think politics
like,
is like,
everyone's just,
I don't know, it's like such a way of how people identify themselves, and then like it's this team versus team thing, right? Like that's just the nature of it. So you're on one team and then you meet somebody who's on another team and you talk about it, and then it becomes this like weird thing and people just judge each other like based on politics. But it's like I have friends
right,
who are conservatives, and I have friends who are libertarians, and I have friends who are liberals, and I have friends who are leftists. Like you can have relationships outside of politics and like still be friends with people if they don't
and
agree with you.
I think I got more triggered by it like after losing all my friends to politics, literally all of them. Like these are people that I've grown up with since we were like 2 years old, and like when you lose all of your friends to politics, is like, is that really all you guys started to see me for? And so then I would go around into the world being like seeing everyone as like, oh, well, I don't know if I could be friends with this person if they're a liberal or like, you know, and like I just started to see the world as super divided because of what happened to me. And I'm like, you can still have, like, I have friends still, a couple that we don't have the same political views really, and like we're still fine. Like we just don't really talk about it and don't really, you know, like one of my best friends, she lives in LA now, and like she's really big on like vaccines and like medicine, and like I'm not, and we've always known that about each other for like 8 years. So it's like she's not gonna let like this COVID vaccine like get in the way of that friendship, and we're still friends outside of everything. We just don't really like talk about it. She just understands like we're different, and like that's it. And there's still people out there that you can be friends with. And sure, maybe I meet some people and then they end up not liking me because I'm not vaccinated. But like I shouldn't go around thinking that like only unvaccinated people are going to be my friends, or only, you know, or I have to hate people who are like, I didn't like how I was starting to like see the real world because of like Twitter just like constantly brainwashing me with like this algorithm and going on and seeing like, oh yeah, we hate maskers, we hate vaccine. And it's like, I don't know. I just don't like that going on, because you can still be friends with people away from politics. And like, I just need to find that again. I need to remember that life is not all politics, and like some people literally do not give a shit what your politics are and will still be friends with you. So
well, and one thing I'll say too is that even though like some of the divisions right now, it seems a lot of like left and right, or even pro COVID policies and or anti. There always has been a lot of divisions. And I mean, look at, back in the 1960s, when you had people that were for the war or against the war, and just think of like how that could have changed, friendships and things like that. So I don't think it's a new problem. I think this is just the current version of it.
It's just the COVID regime has been causing it. But then it's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. I mean, right, look at what Blake said, the media is forcing it. And like, if the media... So this goes out to everybody who feels like sometimes I do take social media breaks. I just feel like it's good for you no matter what. But I haven't really done it since my account has been this big. It's been a little bit different. But yeah, just take a break. Like you can unplug. I went to babysit my niece the other day, and I accidentally left my phone at home because it was just like so early. I just forgot my phone, and I was like, need my phone. And like, I swear to you, I have never been so in tune with my niece. I haven't seen her in a month, and like obviously before I would be like watching her, right? It's not like I was not like watching her, but like, you know, they're like one, they can like play with whatever. But like I didn't have my phone. I was observing every little interaction, like how she would interact with my dog, like the 5 seconds before she would like walk up to him, like what she would do, her body language. Like it's just so cool to be in like the real world and like be a human and like interact and like just see all like my niece growing up and like not having the distraction of like notifications and stuff. Like it's okay to unplug. It's okay to take a social media break. Remind yourself to live in the real world. Don't let yourself get brainwashed by politics, because that's really, if you're not on social media, you're probably not being brainwashed by politics. That's another thing that I realized too. I was like, I'm going hard and hating liberals because like people on Twitter love it, but now I'm starting to hate liberals in real life and I don't like that. So I should stop.
Also, don't have any notifications on. Notifications suck. Don't do it.
Yeah,
I have like
won't have
almost none on my phone. Like Twitter, absolutely not. It hasn't been for years because I can't deal with that.
Yeah, that's smart. I don't have any Instagram ones on, but like I had my Twitter friends because like, you know, when you do have a lot of followers, it's like you want to at least see what the people that you follow say. So like when they would tweet me, I would have my notifications on, but then it's still like like people are tweeting me like every 10-20 minutes. So it's like I'm still always checking, and it's like you have to just unplug and like live in the real world. And I've been happy. I've been doing good. I've been reading. I've been cooking. I learned how to cook steak.
Wow.
I learned about the NFL. I learned all the positions on the NFL, all the offensive players, all the defensive players. It's been cool. It's just like random stuff that I'm trying to enjoy in life again. So
speaking of NFL, I think Mason said that Sarah was a fake Cowboys fan. And I just would like to say, after meeting her, she really loves Texas. Like, even though she might not live there yet, like she loves Texas. So that's kind of hard for you to say.
Okay, and also here's the thing. If the only reason that I'm a Cowboys fan is because I love Post Malone and he loves the Cowboys, I have a Post Malone tattoo on my arm. So let's relax, okay? I will get a Cowboys tattoo on my arm too if you guys want me to, just to prove that I love the Cowboys. But I did definitely pick a team. But you know, it's good this way because like if I wanted to pick the best team, I would have picked the Chiefs or something. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna root for my boys. I'm gonna stick by their side. Those are my boys. Let's go, Dak Prescott. Can't name 5 other players yet, but let's go. I love you guys. You know, it's fun. It's fun to have a hobby that's not politics. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say on it. Just obviously being someone that is so plugged into social media, like it's okay to take a step back and just live your life for a bit. So that's all.
We love it. We love a self-aware queen.
Sarah, have you been reading any good books in the meantime?
Sorry, you guys like broke out. I couldn't hear what you said.
You're kind of lagging, just like your video.
Did you say haven't been reading books?
Yeah, I said in the meantime, have you read any good books?
Hold on. Okay. I heard you. I don't know why you were breaking up. Yes, I've been reading Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. Great book. And I've been reading End the Fed by Ron Paul. So 2 great books.
I need
Can
to
you guys
start.
hear me?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just lagging. Your video is lagging.
Yeah. Hannah, is my video lagging or no?
No.
Okay.
You're good. I think it's just Sarah's. Oh, she's paused now.
Yeah, she's a little frozen. Yeah, for books right now, let's see I literally am looking at the stack of books that I like because I asked for a bunch of books for Christmas. And no, right now I'm still in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. And then I'm like, oh wait, but then he has like these other books that I want to read too. I feel bad. Like I was really excited to like listen to the podcast with him and Joe Rogan, but I like hadn't been able to get through the whole podcast yet. Mind you, it is 4 hours. But still, like I haven't finished it yet. I'm like more than halfway through.
I didn't realize it was 4 hours long. Damn.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I like to pay attention to the whole thing and like actually watch them and not just be listening in the background. Because like that's when I really wanted to pay attention to. Sometimes I'll be like doing other things, but I like really wanted to like zone in and like get all of it. So I haven't quite got through all of it yet. Almost.
We should talk about the Neil Young, like Joe Rogan Spotify thing. Did you read about that, Court?
Yes, I did. And I one of my friends, she posted a really good meme. So I definitely like retweeted that one. it was like with the Jurassic Park. It was like beforehand, like when they're like meeting to like for him to get the vials or whatever. And he's like, look, you know, this is Neil Young's taking his music off of Spotify. Look, nobody cares.
Okay, we're gonna try this again. Can you guys hear me, or do I sound like a robot?
No, it's better.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, it's
Okay,
echoing.
I don't know what happened. My fucking I don't know. The reptilians don't want me to stream tonight. They're just fucking with my connection, apparently.
Sarah, I know you haven't been following everything as much, but so Neil Young recently announced that he wanted all his music taken off of Spotify, unless Joe Rogan was taken off of Spotify.
Wait,
and like
who's
Neil Young,
just like some
Exactly.
He's a singer, you know. From what I understand, he has some good bops, but he's not that relevant. It's not like Taylor Swift or Katy Perry or somebody like that's prevalent now.
You know, I saw I think it was a tweet that was like Joe Rogan must have literally like his contract with Spotify, because he knew, and that's probably why he specifically made a contract with Spotify, because he knew that he was about to start being problematic. And he probably had everything in that contract that was like, it does not matter what I talk about. If I mention ivermectin, you cannot take my stuff down, and you're still going to pay me, and I'm still going to pay you. Like, that contract must have been to the T, like a contract. They're not going to take his stuff off. And he's only on Spotify, which is what I find crazy, you know, like.
Right. Well, so because like I followed all of that. And so he's actually been on Spotify for like the contract with Spotify was before he was like this ivermectin person that like this is
right.
This was before any of this, but he always, though, that was really important to him, was that he was going to be able to keep his platform and be able to not be censored at all. Because that's one thing that he's been very critical of in the last couple of years, about, you know, these networks and stuff telling people like what they can and cannot say. So that was part of the deal with Spotify. Neil Young and all of his 12 monthly listeners are punching the air right now. Yeah, pretty accurate.
But that's because that's the thing. It's like when you're in contract, like that contract must have just been so, you know, he probably got paid so much money too. And also Spotify, you know, maybe they're a little bit more like whoever owns it is a little bit more Republican, like let's talk about ivermectin and shit. I don't know. Like, I don't know who owns Spotify.
They're just broad as Spotify. And it makes sense for them to stay broad and just keep everything on there, because then that way they don't have to have any other, you know, platforms.
Like they can only listen to Rogan on there, right? So like you have Spotify. So that's also benefiting them, even if they don't agree with the stuff. It's like, okay, bye Neil Young and your 12 listeners. We're gonna keep Rogan because he's pulling in like millions a month for us. So
that's the thing. It's like that is like a symbiotic relationship. Like Joe Rogan obviously got paid tons of money by Spotify to be on Spotify, but then in return, how many people have Spotify just because they listen to Joe Rogan? I bet it's probably a lot. Like, people are dedicated to listening to that shit. So they will. Like,
that's my little brother. He listens to every single Rogan's podcast like every time he's at work, because he works security. He just sits there and like he listens to everything. I don't listen to every Rogan podcast. I'm sorry, I don't have 3 hours a day, let alone 15 hours. But when there is someone good on, like I will listen to it. But like, you know, Joe Rogan has like his simps like that just want to listen to only him, and like, good for him. We love Joe Rogan here. I have no issue.
Well, it's just like there's a lot of the platform that he has is nice. It's not so much like Joe Rogan himself. It's that he runs a really good platform where different kinds of people can come on and talk. Right. And I think it's more the setup, and that it's just like this free, you know, conversation that he's able to have. It's not so much that he has always so much to share himself. It's more that he's kind of interviewing the other person, and that's like what makes it really nice. And it's people that wouldn't have a voice otherwise. They get highlighted.
And I think he knew, it's almost like Joe Rogan knew like that this COVID shit was gonna be as problematic as it was, because
I think it's just that he knew that media is problematic.
That's true. He has a lot of media experience. And by the way, everyone, Joe Rogan does do UFC.
You didn't know that, did you?
I remember the day that she found that.
I was talking about Juan earlier. I was with Juan and his friends, and we were all watching UFC. And I was like, "Oh, that guy looks like Joe Rogan."
Oh my god.
Yeah, that looks like Joe Rogan. And they were like, that is Joe Rogan. I was
He's
so
done that forever. Like,
I
way
did.
back.
That was just too funny. And then I got roasted on Twitter. And then I started getting annoying getting roasted on Twitter. I was like, you guys are fucking annoying. How would I know? I don't watch UFC. Like, come on, I watched Fear Factor. I watched him telling bitches to eat cockroaches. I didn't watch that. I was not a UFC person.
Some of the stuff they do on old like Fear Factor, we were rewatching like old episodes recently, and it's like, I don't think you could do some of this stuff on TV today. Like, I don't know. It's like they shaved that girl's head. Do you remember that one? Oh my god,
I don't remember that.
It's so fucked up.
What platform were you using to watch it, Hannah? Because I don't know where it is.
I can't even remember. Maybe it was on Hulu. I don't know. They had like old, like early episodes.
See, because I have Hulu. I should go look into that.
I don't know if it's on Hulu or not. It was on something. I have like all of them. I pay as much as I would for cable for all the fucking streaming platforms I have. So I don't know which one I was on.
I know. There's so many streaming services these days.
Right, there didn't used to be. It was just like, oh, you have Netflix and Hulu, $25 a month, cheaper than cable, and now it's like Paramount, Disney, fucking Discovery, like HBO.
Discovery Plus. I really want that Discovery Plus thing because they have all like the cooking shows and all of like the home shows, and that's like my jam. Like that's my favorite.
I'll just give you my login because Patrick doesn't watch Discovery Plus. I do because it's got like 90 Day Fiance and like.
Oh, I love that. It was my
right.
Show.
It's fantastic. Discovery Plus has like 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days, after the 90 days, and then they have like all the spin-offs of like each of the couples and like there's oh my god, dude, it's the best.
See, yeah, I don't watch much of the reality stuff. I just like watch like the like home. Like I want to see like someone making like a certain kind of pie, and then like I don't know, it's like cathartic.
That's on there too.
Or like when they're like doing all the house shows. I love all the house shows. Like that's where they have all of like Fixer Upper because they have the whole Magnolia network all on there now. That was amazing.
I'm literally texting you my password right now because
I love that.
Okay, perfect. I'm so excited.
Right.
No, I literally like went to shout out to my friend Cody who let me stay at his house in Alabama. But he had all he had Discovery Plus like on his TV, and he was like busy during like while I was there, like because he had to like go to work and stuff during the day. So here I am just like at his house, and I was like doing some things on my laptop and things, but I'm just like I'm like, look, Discovery Plus is here, and then I like literally would just like watch Fixer Upper like all day long. It was great.
I love that. I should watch cooking shows. I forget that like there's cooking shows to watch. I'm like trying to learn how to cook. I'm trying to practice my trash life skills and learn how to cook.
You have to get Discovery Plus then because
I know
I watch Worst Cooks in America on Discovery Plus, and I think MasterChef is on Hulu, but I love me some MasterChef, mostly just Gordon Ramsay, but
I'm definitely one of the worst cooks in America. I'm not, honestly. I'm so proud of myself. I need to stop with this negative attitude.
So we could put you on the show and like see how you do. Like maybe you'd win. Or do that Nailed It show. That one's really fun to watch where they try to make the cakes and stuff. And that actually is tricky if you don't bake much and then all of a sudden they like throw you in to like bake.
Because I'm like I try to be a skinny legend for my brand, like just be fit as fuck and like not be fat. And like I don't get to eat sweets. I don't like why would I bake a cake that I can't eat, you know?
Well, see, like I actually do. Like sometimes I literally will bake like cakes and pies and then like take it somewhere for an event. And like I literally have made a homemade apple pie with like caramel pecan topping and didn't have a slice. I literally didn't eat any because I was on a diet.
Yeah, it's like all that matters to me in life is having abs. I don't know what I was thinking about this the other day too, because like you know I'm like in my like just thinking right now away from social media, and I was like, what am I gonna do when I'm like not young and hot anymore?
I'll have to get a personality. Fuck.
I'll have to stop being a piece of shit. What? I can't just excuse it. I was like, oh, it's fine. She's hot. She can make Holocaust jokes. Oh my god!
At 30, and you're fine. That's what I plan to do. I had to keep this young Asian.
Well, you're already married, so it's fine. Like,
Facts.
I'm looking right, looking tight,
or I'm going downhill.
Oh, speaking of like looking young, I just like got this like new serum that's like this caffeine serum that you like put under your eyes, and it like makes you like look, it puffs up any like your under eye bags, and like I really like it. Like the first day I used it, like I literally had a lady that she was like looking down at something, and then she like looked up at me, and she's like, you're so beautiful, and I was just like, thank you. And I'm like, yes, I'm like the eye serum is working.
What's the brand?
It's let's see, it's like is it the original, or like it's a really basic brand. They sell it at Ulta and it's like really cheap.
Okay,
I can go grab it for show and tell.
Yes,
here, let me go grab it for show and tell. I'll show you all my skincare products.
And then also, tell me what you think of this. So, you know how I have my alt account? I have Ayn Rand Thought, which literally just started as like an account where I can be fucking unhinged and tweet whatever the hell I want because it's a private account, right? So it's like, so I tweeted a Holocaust joke on that account, and somebody tweeted, they were like, Liberty Thought likes to use her secret private alt account, Ayn Rand Thought, to joke about the mass killing of Jews. And I was like, for one, this is not a secret alt account. Like, I tell everybody. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's
see.
Pause for a
second.
Let's see, there it is. The Ordinary. So that one is, let me read that to you. It's the caffeine solution, 5% plus EGCG, whatever that means. So I use that one. That's for the under eyes. That's the dark one. Okay. Then we have the light one, which is the niacinamide, 10%. Plus zinc. And there's that one.
Let's zinc is so good for you. If you have COVID, you should take zinc. That's not medical advice, just thought advice.
But you should not probably ingest this. Like, I don't know how ingesting niacinamide would work. So just take like a regular vitamin that's meant for that. And then this disclaimer out there. And then this one is like the lactic acid. If I can get that to focus. That one's like the lactic acid. So that one's like more of the
I need that.
I don't know, to like cure zits and stuff. We also have a cat back.
But yeah, I sometimes feel bad telling like Courtney how problematic I am sometimes because Courtney is just like such a sweet, innocent girl. So I was telling this Holocaust. Sorry, no, okay.
Sarah told the Holocaust joke.
So this was the joke, okay? Obviously, on my main account, I'm less unhinged because I don't want to get banned, and I'm inevitably going to get banned one day, and it is what it is, and I'll start a new account, and it's fine. So I had tweeted, I was like, I would rather watch, and it was something unproblematic, like, than watch this documentary about how January 6th was an insurrection. And for me, being a fucking hilarious comedian, obviously what I want to tweet is, I would rather watch Jews getting burned in the Holocaust than watch that. Like, it was a joke. It was a fucking joke. I'm sorry, but like,
that is kind of bad. Like, I can see why that would be problematic.
I'm sorry. I'm just
like, I mean, it's one thing to make a joke about Hitler or something, but like that one's.
But like, okay,
it's out there.
Was like, I feel like it wasn't too far. Like, obviously, I don't want to watch Jews get burned in the Holocaust, but like, I just really don't want to watch this insurrection movie. So I'm gonna tweet something extremely fucking problematic that obviously isn't true as a joke to just show how bad I don't want to watch it. And then people were exposing me. They were like, this is what Liberty Thought tweets on her alt account, her private account. And I was like, it's not a private account, honey. I got like 1,500 followers on there. Like, it's not private. Anyone can see it. But I was just like, you know, people are just trying to like cancel me and come at me for like anything. And it's just like, I don't know. It's just a joke. Like, I'm sorry if you were offended by my you know, people are going to probably DM it to Spike Cohen because he's like a Jew. And they're going to be like, Sarah hates Jews. And not true. It was just a joke. I'm sorry. Okay, so I would like to publicly say I'm sorry for being a piece of shit and making Holocaust jokes. I don't normally fall back on things that I've said, but if it was too far, I apologize. I just think like I am so fucked up in the head that like when things are so traumatizing that I can't process them, I make jokes about it. Like that's why I joke about having 9 boyfriends at the same time because I have daddy issues, right? Like I go way overboard. So I'm sorry for the Holocaust jokes. I will not make them anymore. I know when I go back online, people are going to be like, you deactivated because you got caught up making Holocaust jokes. Well, like, I made a fucking stupid joke. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry to everybody for the joke. I won't make any more. It was maybe too far. I didn't think it was too far. But...
It's okay. We want you to make jokes. This isn't like some kind of like CNN or something where we only like give you a script of things you're allowed to say. No, like, right. And honestly, like, yeah, no, just like the whole reason why we even wanted to start this podcast to begin with was just to have like another outlet, just like how like Joe Rogan is doing his thing and he's having people being able to say what they want to say without it being filtered by something else. That's why we wanted to start this. And we are hoping to kind of build this up too.
And liberty, bitch. That's all we care about. So we're
we care about liberty. Do we have any liberty things to even talk about today? I think this was just more of like an unhinged, like, let's just catch up episode. Because I haven't.
How about I don't know if you guys like want to talk about it, but we could talk about Russia a little bit.
Russia.
Do not get me started on foreign affairs. I'm just like in my corner and make problematic jokes about it because I don't understand it. So I would rather not comment because I don't know anything. I don't know. I'm sorry. I really.
Well, so let me give a little introduction of like what's going on right now. So basically, the tensions between Russia and the Ukraine are rising. I haven't been following everything super close, but some people are calling for the U.S. to step in and defend Ukraine. And then, on the other side, you have, people saying like, oh, well, it's not our problem. We don't belong over there. And that's kind of the main situation that's going on.
Yeah. See, I don't want to take too much of a position because I would say that my weakest area of political knowledge is foreign affairs because
it's just so generally so many countries. Like, I don't know.
Well, and like my position is like, do we need to get involved? It's not our fucking business. I get it. America is like supposed to be the world police, whatever. I don't think it's like a very neocon thing. Like, I don't think we should be sending our fucking troops into Ukraine for what? Like, okay, what? Why? For what? We have shit going on here. We have a fucking disaster going on here. Right. We have homeless people here. We have homeless veterans here. We have foster children who need to be fucking adopted into home. Like, there's no fucking space in my mind for like, who cares? That's their fucking problem.
Because I know recently Chamath, that billionaire, he got canceled for saying on a podcast, because I listened to this podcast, Mind Pump, and they were talking about it. And he had said something like he doesn't care about the Muslims that are being incarcerated in a camp in China. I'm sorry if I'm totally butchering this. I don't know exactly the situation, but there's like Muslims being incarcerated in a camp in China. And like, he was like, I don't care about them, do you? But like, if you listen, again, it got taken out of context, which anything that you post on the internet can get taken out of context. It fucking happens to me all the time because people just fucking hate me. But like, he had said that, but what he was really saying was like, do we actually care? Or are you just trying to say that you care about this stuff for like, to be a social justice warrior? Like, what are you actually doing to help? Do you really care about that? When there's like people in your own backyard that we need to help first? No, you probably don't care. Like, I'm sorry, but I would much rather focus on like problems that are directly affecting like my area, like the homeless people in East Side San Jose that I see every day. Like, I would rather help them than like help, these people in another country that I don't know. I don't know anything about it. And so it's like, you have to help. It's like Jordan Peterson says, you have to clean your own room before you can help clean other people's rooms or some shit. And it's true though.
Totally.
Like, that's why it's like why I took a break from Twitter. It's like, I'm not in a good place right now. You need to get your shit together and help yourself before you can go out and help the world. And like, I just don't think we know enough about foreign affairs to ever really comment on it. I don't think we know what's happening,
And and especially when we have a president like we do, right? Like Trump, he was like more invested in like the North Korea shit and whatever. And so like, but he was competent enough to be invested in that many different things. And our country wasn't falling to fucking pieces like it is right now. Right. And like, if it was, I'm sure his focus would have been at home rather than overseas. But like, when we have the fucking president that we have in the office right now, how can we afford to try to have him pay attention to all of this fucking shit? Pay attention to what's going on here and the fact that he's a fucking traitor. Like, we don't, the world doesn't take us serious.
I would rather focus on vaccine mandates in San Francisco. Like, I'm getting more involved with the Libertarian Party and like trying to actually do something locally to like overturn mask and vaccine mandates. And like that is something that affects me directly. And I'm going to focus on that before I worry about like North Korea or like, like that shit is sad. But like, what am I supposed to do? Little old me, I can't fucking do anything. I can't do anything about Russia and Ukraine. Like,
well, there are some things like, so for instance, like I've been calling out some of the businesses, particularly Disney, who decided when they shot Mulan, they literally were like shooting that like on land, like right beside where it's the I might not be pronouncing it right, but it's like the Uyghur like Muslim. It's a people group in China, that are being imprisoned, and Disney like chose to work with them and chose to shoot it there, and like. And not to mention the fact that one of the reasons why I really don't like LeBron is because he was asked, questions about, about all that situation. And he basically said, oh yeah, China's not doing anything wrong. And so we can call out, at least, what's happening, even if we don't think in a military way that we should be getting involved. We should still be talking about what's going on. But for the situation with Ukraine, I do follow foreign affairs a little bit more. It's tough. So kind of the way that I see the situation going on right now is that you have, you can't there comes a time when we do have to step in. I mean, take a look at World War II. Like, no part of me regrets the fact that the United States chose to get involved in.
Aside, I am glad that we saved the Jews. I love Jews. I love everyone. I just make jokes about everybody because I also hate everybody. You know what I mean? So like, yes, I'm going to make Jewish jokes, but like at the end of the day, if we didn't get involved in World War II, like, I'm glad we did.
Right. And it was because Hitler was taking over all of Europe. So in a similar way, look at, what was, formerly the Soviet Union, look at what they were doing before it fell, where they had taken over so much of that region. And we don't want to have another, Hitler. We don't want to have another USSR, that we're dealing with. So at the same time, I do understand why we don't want, or just the same for China. I do think that China is a bigger threat than Russia, but we don't want China to just take over the whole East and just be in charge of all of it. We don't want that either. We want all those other countries to be individual. But then it comes to, down to, okay, like where can we, use trade pressures and things like that? Can we influence the UN? I don't like the UN anyways, but, let's see what we can do before, ever trying to put boots on the ground or doing anything like that.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of the situation.
That's what bothers me, I think, is that you kind of just nailed it, is like putting boots on the ground is like the first option. Like that's what when things get tense, like, oh, how many troops are we going to send? Are we going to send people? That's what's fucked up. That's not the answer. Like you said.
That's the reason why we had a Cold War between us and the USSR, is because they knew that it wouldn't be good to start a hot war. And that's why it was the Cold War. And those that aren't familiar, Cold War is when there's not openly war going on, but, a lot of espionage and things being happened, behind closed doors.
Ronald Reagan had a Cold War. I'm sorry, I don't know. Was it him, right? Was it Ronald Reagan?
Well, so it wrapped up. It wrapped up when he was president.
It was a long time ago, right? Okay.
It was like many.
It was in the 80s. It wasn't that long ago.
It was Ronald Reagan. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm literally retarded about foreign affairs. Like, please don't ask me. But also, I just looked up where the Ukraine was. It's right next to Russia. So, like,
that's okay, though.
That could
and that's the thing. People shouldn't be afraid to admit what they don't know. If you don't know where Ukraine is, literally pull out your Google Maps and go look at where Ukraine is. Go look at the other countries around there, and then look at the USSR and where they controlled before before the fall.
Sarah, will you put Caveman's comment on the screen? Because I just wanted, that was like what I was touching on. Diffuse the situation diplomatically before we put lives on the line. Exactly. I understand what you're saying about like the Cold War and stuff. And yes, I mean, it does, like, America has a strong military, right? Like, that's why other countries are scared of us. But like, I don't know. There's just something that rubs me the wrong way. Maybe it's probably because I'm too much of a libertarian these days, because old me would have like totally agreed with like, yeah, fucking get them in there. But like, I don't know. I just have a different outlook now.
Personally, for me, like, I don't see how war, like, I think all of these leaders
used to sit down and do shrooms together, and they would solve all their problems. Like, I don't know why we make this shit so complicated. I will be your fucking spiritual guide, and I will help you on your shrooms ship. But it's just like, why do you need to like fight? I don't get. Like, maybe it's just like the woman in me that is just like, I don't know.
It's the world, Sarah. Look at history forever.
I know. I'm just.
Well, there's going to be conflict in the world. Like, that's going to keep happening. And, you know, I don't think we're ever going to get to a place where it's like this peaceful kumbaya. But, you know, at the same time, we don't. The other thing is, like, with, you know, these places gaining power, just like, you know, if the USSR, you know, kind of, you know, in you know, now it's Russia, you know, regains all this power. Imagine if, like, they take all of Europe and then, like, Africa. Like, that's a problem. That's a big problem for the United States. Yeah. Just like, again, if China takes all over all the East. Someone had mentioned Taiwan in the comments. And I think that's a big problem. Like, with China expanding their reach, they already are basically like in charge of North Korea. You know, he's, you know, kind of acting as a puppet, and it's like the little brother.
Like, yeah, I was learning about North Korea, and like, why don't we just drop some guns in there? And people were saying, like, because China kind of lets Kim Jong-un like be a fucking piece of shit. Basically, he's Hitler. Okay, like, he's literally like a Hitler. Like, I don't know. Everyone's probably listened to, like, I forgot her name, Naomi. I really
Park. Naomi Park, yeah.
Naomi Park, right? I was gonna say something else, but yeah, Naomi Park. She was like in North Korea, and like that shit is like terrible. And so like when I was hearing that, I was like, why do we let this happen? Because that's when the part of me is like, if we could send military troops into North Korea and like like I would be so down for that, you know. Like, obviously it's going to kill our own people, but like if you sign up for the military, you're kind of like expecting that to happen. Then it's like, well, why don't we? And then it's like people were telling me, oh, because China. And I was like, oh, so it's like China's pretty awful.
Right. Well, and so like, even if people escape from North Korea and get into China, like, they still aren't really free. Like, if they're still caught by like Chinese police, they can still get sent back. There's some of the other countries that they have to get to before they're actually free, even if they do try to escape. It was really cool. I forget what his last name is. It's Miles on Twitter. He had mentioned in the last couple of weeks that he would like to go to North Korea, like, on a boat and like pick up some people and like save them. And I'm like, that's really cool. And because it's completely independent of any government, so it's not like there's any government to retaliate.
Right. But it's like, okay, this is the thing, is I don't know, this is just me being an idiot and not really knowing how to solve problems. But like, if you do feel bad for people in North Korea that are like starving and like literally eating human feces to feel like, what can you do in your community to help? And I hate to be that person, but it's like, at the end of the day, I'm just little old me, you know. I cannot help North Korea, but like, what if I feel bad for people in that situation? Like, there's things in your community that you can do to help. And I feel like that's just maybe what we can do as people that are liberty minded to like make us feel better. Like, what can I do to help the locals that obviously are not in a North Korea situation, but like in a situation where they're struggling to eat food? Like, what can I do to help them? You know, like, we have to just, there's really nothing that we can do. And I hate to say that, but it's just like us three personally, we can't help. So what are we going to do?
I don't know. I disagree with that a little bit, because I think we could talk about it.
That's true. Yeah. But like, I don't know, how do you get Joe Biden, the fucking most incompetent president that we've ever had, to send any troops into North Korea? Or like, you know, like, I don't know what you can really.
Well, I think the main thing is that the general person in America needs to know what's going on, and they need to be aware of it, because that's the thing. Like, I have a lot of friends that are not in politics and aren't, you know, really involved. And when I mentioned that there was stuff going on in China that was shady, like, they had no idea. They completely oblivious.
People don't know.
You know, a lot of people don't, you know, they don't watch the news, like, they don't, you know, which understandably so. Like, I don't watch the news, like, I don't recommend it most of the time, unless I have a friend that's gonna be on TV. I don't watch TV.
No, unless Olivia Rando's on Fox News, I'm not watching.
Exactly. Yeah, I literally, that's the last time I watched Fox News, was to watch her segment.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
but no, I
obviously-
think, Sarah, you do have a really good point, though, about focusing on the communities here and focusing, you know, on what's going on today. Speaking of which, of things that have gone on today, did you guys see that it was a bridge in Pittsburgh that collapsed?
I saw that. I went on Facebook and I saw Joe Biden visited the site of the bridge collapse. I had no idea that a bridge collapsed.
Well, so it was actually today that Biden was set to talk about infrastructure in Pittsburgh.
That's
and
ironic.
a few hours before that, the bridge collapsed. I'm not saying that there's anything there. The timing is a little iffy. I'll say that much.
Wait,
it was a friend of mine that
was there to visit.
What's that?
What did you say?
Joe Biden was going to be coming to
already
Pittsburgh
in
today. He was coming to Pittsburgh to give a talk on infrastructure, and then a few hours before that, the bridge collapsed.
No, I'm too much of a conspiracy theorist. For sure. Throw it out the window. It was all planned. Like,
I'm not going to go that far, because in the winter, when you do have, like the water that'll freeze and then melt and freeze and melt, that does cause more damage to roads and bridges and things like that. And from some of the people that I am friends with that are in Pittsburgh, like they have so many bridges there, and there is a lot of things that are in bad repair. All of that coming back to like the local communities. Just think, we all were making jokes. It was probably, I don't know, a month or two ago now about all the infrastructure jokes. Like, this is infrastructure, because they tried to inject so much other garbage into that infrastructure bill. And like we did, and then so today, when I was looking through like the discourse of people talking about that, they're like, "Oh yeah, those Republicans, they didn't want to support the infrastructure, and look, now the infrastructure's crumbling." And I'm so glad that no one was hurt in that. I'd like to say, but like I'm okay with us paying for a new bridge. Like I think Pittsburgh should have a new bridge, and if they need a little federal money to help them out with that, like I don't care. That's fine. We tax everyone so much; they can take care of that. It's all the other garbage that they wanted to put in the infrastructure bill. It's like, no, like we don't need all of that.
Well,
if we could just, go through the bill and say, okay, this line item, good. This one's okay. This one, no, we're not doing that. And like actually separate, because that's one of the things when these bills are coming through, that's like the budget bill. That's one of the things that I love Rand Paul, that he'll actually go through and he'll like list all these things that are in the bills that like don't belong there. Why are we passing things as these big chunks of legislation? It's like, okay, this either moves forward or it doesn't. That doesn't make any sense.
And they don't even read it. They don't even read it.
Because there's not enough time. Like, what the heck? Like, that system, that's a system that we should change. Absolutely. That we're like changing line items on things and not just saying yes or no to this huge omnibus spending bill, or a huge, infrastructure spending bill. That's just ridiculous.
Absolutely. I read this book. It's a very basic entry libertarian book. Okay, I get that. Pea brain over here. Okay, I read the book. I highlighted. I really do read, you guys. I'm just throwing that out there. But one of the comments in this book was that your tax code should be able to fit on a Post-it note. And the problem with taxes these days is it's literally like over 80,000 pages of tax code. And nobody is going to fucking read that. And that's what they do with all of the bills these days, right? So they're going to say, oh, we have this new tax bill. It's going to raise your taxes and it's going to be good for infrastructure. But how much in that bill is shit that you don't need? And that's been something that they're doing for so long. And that's why our tax code is over 80,000 pages, because they're adding all this stuff in and nobody reads it. Normal everyday people like us that have jobs, even people like us involved in politics, we don't have time to read a bill. And the way that they word it, it's not for the average person to be able to understand. Like, I'm not going to be able to look at a bill drafted and be like, oh yeah, let me analyze this. I know what all this means. Like, they make it complicated on purpose. And again, it should be able to fit on a Post-it note what you're trying to do. And I thought that was the best point of this book that I read, was like, everything just needs to be condensed for the average person, because then we can see what the government is actually doing, and we can't see that. Nobody has the time for it.
Correct.
Well, and to go back to like constitutionalism, like one of the things, like when they were setting up the country, the only way that any of this was going to work was if you had an educated populace. So that way they could vote on things to make good decisions. And in a lot of ways, we don't really have that. So I think in ways the schools are to blame. That's definitely part of it. But it's more than just that. There's a lot of people that just don't care about what's going on and don't pay attention. And it hurts us. It hurts us a lot when, you know, kids don't even know, like, in government, like, what's going on, or, you know, who does what. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen where someone is complaining about their senator, you know, and things like that. They're like, oh, what did they do to help? But literally, like, the senators, you know, like your Joe Manchin, you know, the people that are the U.S. senators, not state senators, U.S. senators, they're only voting for things in the Senate, like for the federal government. They are not picking anything or doing anything on a state, like local level. Like, they're representing you in that federal level, but it's your smaller representatives, it's your state senators that are, you know, in the state Senate that, you know, are making more of these decisions. It's, you know,
and no one pays attention to that shit. Like, they don't.
They don't. They literally look at the president and then maybe Senate and Congress races and not too much else.
And that's like, it's like almost a distraction, because it's like, you look at a place like, you know, Oregon, and all of these people, like, they vote blue because they see that, you know, whatever, they're fucking liberals, and then they vote blue for the White House too, but then they only pay attention to the White House, and then these fucking liberal people that they voted in have just completely destroyed our state, and then they're like, what the fuck is going on?
Even so, for example, like, at this point, people know that I live in San Jose. Okay, it's fine. I'm not gonna try to be like, I'm hiding my location. Show up at my fucking house, see what the fuck happens. That's all I'm saying. But anyways, there is a bill being passed or trying to be passed in San Jose, where they're trying to tax gun owners every year. Like, they're trying to give them a tax or a fee. And like, that is so local. That's not even a California thing. That's literally happening in my city. And do you think that the gangbangers in the East Side are going to go pay that tax? No. This is what's going to happen. Actually, this is what's going to happen. Is I'm going to hit up my friends that are gangbanging in the East Side. I'm going to be like, hey, this is all off the record, by the way. This is hypothetical. I'm going to be like, hey, help me get a gun that the government doesn't know about. And they'll be like, okay, I got you. That's what's going to happen. I'm not going to go buy another gun from the gun store to have to pay a tax on it. I'm going to find a way to get a gun so that I can protect myself. But it's not like they're making all these laws at a very, very local level down to your city. And it's going to affect people in the city that genuinely need a gun to defend themselves. You know, like me, like, oh, fucking everybody in my city hates me. White supremacist, racist Trump supporter over here, right? Like, I am the type of person that needs a gun. And these laws that they're making are affecting me. They're not affecting the people committing gun crimes. And it's shit like that it's like, it's so localized that people don't even, because California is such a big state. It's like, this is literally just happening in my city. And it's like, you know, who is it affecting? It's affecting me, the person that needs it the most, the person who has an internet following, that has people literally out to get her, literally out to destroy her. I am the person that needs a gun, and your gun laws are making my life harder. It's not making the criminals' lives harder, because they're already the ones that aren't going to pay the tax on the gun. Like, you know, so it's people need to pay attention at a local level. They're not even doing that. They're not even realizing what's happening.
Yep, and that's why they can get away with it. That's why these, like, you know, blue local governments do get away with destroying San Francisco, with destroying Portland, just letting it fall to shit, is because no one is paying attention. And then it gets so bad, and now all these people are like, you need to do something, like, we need to figure this out. But it's like, you guys, this has been happening. Like, you just haven't been clued into it. Like, it's been very clear.
Well, and one of the big things that happens is that literally people will vote straight ticket. Like, there are so many people that will vote. They won't vote. They won't even vote in the primary, which is a really important thing, because that's when you're selecting the people that are going to actually be running.
I think that's how Andrew Yang got elected out, which for a Democrat, I kind of fucked with Andrew Yang. Like, that's a different topic. But, like, you know, people, like, in the primaries are important. I would rather have Andrew Yang be my president than Biden, and people aren't even paying attention to that. They just get so brainwashed to the point where it's like, oh, the president of the United States, like, I hate Trump, so I'm going to vote for Biden so that everybody thinks that I'm, like, cool and woke. And it's like, do you even realize what's happening right now? Like, you know, you don't.
Well, and that's the thing, though. People only even focus on the primaries for the president. Like, they focus some on that, but, like, on local offices, like, not hardly at all. And then when it comes to actually electing, they'll vote straight ticket, where it'll be like just like, oh, the Democrat for every single one, and not even knowing anything about them. And I mean, Republicans are guilty of doing that too. And that's why sometimes in certain states you can literally, if like there's a president that's running that they really like, some of the votes will just go over to that side, because they'll just like vote, okay, we're doing Republican this year, and they'll just go down the line. And it's kind of hard, because you actually have to do more research. I've worked on a Senate race before, so that would have been a federal, seat before. But I was really familiar with local politics, since our office ended up being kind of the hub for all the local people, and I was friends with a lot of them. But it really comes down to really small numbers when it comes to, who gets elected and who doesn't. And a lot of times the money that they're using for advertising and stuff helps, or just the people that they know in these like smaller areas. And so you don't always end up with, it's very small amount of people that actually vote or know what they're voting for. Even like in a lot of the local elections for my area, my parents, who I think are relatively, decently informed people and stuff, they would literally ask me, be like, okay, Courtney, like, who are we supposed to vote for? Because I followed it more than they did. And had other people that would ask me too, because they knew that I thought the same way they did, and would use my judgment instead of making their own. And I mean, I'm always happy to tell people like what I think and why I think what I do, but really I'd rather people think for themselves and like come to their own conclusions.
But
and that's not something that many people are willing to do.
It's harder, especially on a local level, when you're reading a ballot of names. You don't know who those people are. It's not like you see them on Fox News all the time, like all the other senators, and you have to do your research, and it's not easy information to find, and then you have to make a really informed decision about who you actually agree with, and like that's way more work than the average person is willing to go for.
Well, and like debates are really helpful. At least I worked on a Senate race, and so at least we did have like some debates, and so at least like you could listen to that. But for a lot of the smaller stuff, there's not a whole lot going on, and so you have to literally like dig in. You might have to like Google, okay, who's running, in this particular race. Okay, who do I like? But the thing is, people can just say whatever they want on their website or in their campaign video, and you could be like, oh, I like what they're saying there, but you might not know anything about their history or anything that they've actually done, and so then you're back to square one.
It's not even that politician's history, it's just like the history in general, right? Like, for example, this gun law bill, this tax that's being passed in San Jose, people are going to see it and they're going to be like, oh, cool, this will decrease gun violence, because in their head, they want the best for the community and they want less shootings to be happening. And I'm like, do you think the gangbangers in East Side that are shooting each other up are buying legal guns anyway? No, you're not helping anybody by passing this law, and they're just uninformed in general because they've been brainwashed, right? And so it's like, you're not helping anybody by passing a gun tax. You're helping the people like me that are law-abiding citizens that want to have a gun to defend themselves. You're making my life more difficult. You're not making their life more they're the ones causing the problems anyway, So it's like these people are just very unaware and uninformed in general, and I feel like that makes it even harder, because then they just see what sounds good on the ballot and they're like, yeah, I'm going to vote for that. That's not what we need.
There was a comment that came across, Todd Lewinsky. He said, I think Courtney is highlighting why the founding fathers, why the founding fathers never intended to have voting be a privilege for the general population. So while it does have its problems, it still should be, in my opinion. It still should be I want each and every person to be able to have a say. Now, there are things that we do, to, kind of change that. We don't just have mob rule. That is part of the reason why we have the Electoral College. We also have senators and Congress people that we vote that do, they should know more than us. And then they're the ones making the decisions on our behalf. I think it's still better that way. I don't think you can take away the voting power of the individual person. I think that would be a terrible, terrible thing to do. I don't think there's while the current system has problems, where's the better solution? I don't know of one.
Yeah, I mean, voting at a local level definitely matters, but I feel like even nowadays, that's like the issue is basically this last election that we had. I voted just Republican in every single category because I was like, well, these people are probably more likely to not support vaccine mandates, right? And that was like my big thing. So I'm voting for all of these people on all these issues off of the issue that is the most important to me, which is like lockdowns, mask mandates, vaccine mandates. And so it's like now everything is categorized into both parties, right? And that's another problem is it's like you're pro-gun or you're anti-gun, you're pro-life or you're pro-choice, and there's no like middle ground, and that also makes it harder when voting, which I think is why most of us are more libertarian, because it's just like these issues shouldn't, but like at the end of the day you're going to vote for what's the most important issue. So that's like a problem when there's like way more issues beyond what I want to vote for, which is just like the mandates and shit, you know? And like now I'm voting for this Republican that also might support other things that I don't want to support, but I'm voting for them off of their main issue, right? And that's like, it's just not working. Abolish the two-party system.
Right.
I agree. I also do. I mean, it's kind of makes me more hopeful too, like about politics, like knowing that you can get involved on a more local level, right? Like if there is something on a local ballot that's like coming up that you're really passionate about, like you can go out and like do something about it because the people who, you know, are close to you are the ones who are going to be voting on it. Like you have an opportunity to like educate people and like, because like you said, people vote for what sounds good, but they don't think about the repercussions of that, the reality of that. Or, okay, so if we do that, then what happens? Like, and so you have to kind of like prompt people into thinking of those things, but it's much more doable on a local level. Like electing a president is a nationwide effort, but something that's on your city ballot is really easy to advocate for.
Yeah, like that's where like all the anarchists are like, oh, your votes don't matter, and I'm like, no, I think at a local level they do matter because people do, but like sure at the national level, no, that shit's probably all planned to the core, and like, you know, Joe Biden just is a puppet, not even making the decisions, but like that's a whole different topic of conversation. At a local level, unfortunately, your vote does matter. I mean, I'm involved right now in the local LP, and there's just so much drama happening right now in the California LP, guys. Like, it's crazy. There's some tea going on right now, but it's just like but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter because the fact that there's tea, it's obviously like, well, people are pissed because they're being voted out, and so your vote does count sometimes. Okay.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah, Todd, sorry about your name. I tried. So I did want to ask Hannah. When I was like with you last, we had talked some about the governor's race in Oregon. Did you want to talk about that at all?
I mean, I think it's just like kind of early. There's so many people. So Kate Brown is done. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. She's done, so we get to vote her out. And so now there's obviously like a million Republicans gunning for the primary. I was in talks with a particular campaign for a particularly wonderful candidate. His name is Brandon Merritt. He's running on the Republican ticket for governor. You guys should look him up. I think his website is Merritt 2022, 2 R's, 2 T's. But yeah, I've seen him like get his TikToks get posted on Twitter. Like I've retweeted him here and there. But yeah, look into him if you're in Oregon. And I'm just fucking excited to get Kate Brown out of there. I can't fucking wait.
Yes.
Wasn't she the one that wore that little like Christmas mask?
Yes.
I was like, this is the most cringe shit I've ever seen in my life. I hate this. I want nothing to do with masks ever again after seeing this. I mean, I didn't anyway, but that just made it so much worse.
Yeah, I'm in an area where we don't really have like much in terms of like mandates or anything, but people can voluntarily, of course, wear them if they want. And I'm just like, it makes me sad though. Like sometimes, like literally, I like interacted today with a lady that she was like trying to stand so far away from me, like to the point where like she needed to like, I was like doing things with her at work, and she had to like literally like turn her body sideways and extend her arm so her face was as far away from me as like it possibly could be. Meanwhile, in the, you know, where we were, like, there were plenty of other, like, unmasked people around, too. Like, it's not like I was the only one. And, like, people are literally, like, at that spot. And at first, you know, you're just like, oh, my gosh, like, how much of an idiot are you? But it's also sad, though, that people are that afraid And I really wish they weren't. Like, go live your life. Our time, our days here are short. Go live your life. Like, don't be. It's what quality of life is it if you're afraid of everything all the time? And that goes for a lot more stuff too. No, make decent decision for yourself. Like, still wash your hands and stuff like that. But no, go live your life. Stop being afraid of the world. Go live and be part of it. Go enjoy it while you have the time. And for all the people that like don't want to like see their family members and stuff like that, what's the point? If you're gonna live like that, what's the point of even living? Like, I'd rather live like 2 really good years than 10 years where I'm like locked in a little bubble. Like, honestly, that's how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I've always been. And I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with like your past with like the medical industry and like medicine. Like, personally, the 2 friends that I have, I mentioned earlier, I have one in LA and then I have one that's local. So the one in LA, like, she, her family uses medicine to live, right? So like, I can see where her views on the world are like, medicine is good. And then my other friend, she has a brother that just has medical problems, and doctors have constantly like helped keep him alive. And so I can see where for them, their views on the world are more like, yes, medicine is good, people should get a vaccine. For me, I have had the complete opposite with medicine. It's always fucked my family up. I had a friend die because the medical industry wouldn't help her. And like, a lot of it comes down to just like your views in the world, I think. And like, that's sad. But at the end of the day, I just want to live my life. Like, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't have this much power over anybody at this point. Like,
yeah,
it's medical tyranny at this point. I saw Todd's comment said, do you think you can defeat Kate Brown? Is the Northwest eligible? I think, so I live outside of Portland now. I lived closer to Portland always, but now I kind of live in the sticks, and there's so many people out here who have Let's Go Brandon flags and Trump flags, and like, that's just how it is where I am. So it gives me hope, because I know that this is Oregon, and the central places like Portland and Salem and Eugene are really what swings the state left, and I just don't spend my time there anymore. So it gives me hope, knowing that there's so many like red Oregonians. I just hope that there's more of us than there are California transplants and, people in Portland and people who just keep voting these fucking idiots in.
right.
So I don't know. I hope so, but I'm not holding my breath. A blue Oregon is what we've known for 4 decades. I think we're going on 5 decades. So it's hard to have hope, but I fucking hope so.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think one of the big things just for elections in general is going to be your regular like suburban family with kids, because of everything that the schools have been doing is ridiculous. I mean, we saw the win in Virginia in the governor's race, a lot due to that, because they're not having it. We don't want this anymore. I just saw, my mom had actually sent it to me. It was a Portland school. I don't know which one. It was some elementary school where they had their yearbook, and they literally, in the yearbook photos, they didn't even let the kids take their mask off for the yearbook photo, where they literally had masks on. It's like, what's the point of even having a yearbook photo taken if that's, and I'm not talking about a group picture, mind you. I'm talking about individual shots, like where you could very easily have plenty of distance. And I mean, the dumb thing is, it's like kids eat lunch when they're at school. Like, it's not like they'd never take them off anyways. It's not like the whole time they're in the building, they don't. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I have a friend who has children in the Portland school system and wanted to move them from the Portland school system because of everything that's been going on with COVID. The teachers don't want to be in the schools. They want to put the kids in remote learning, blah, blah, blah. And in a city like Portland, that's not feasible. If you take kids out of schools and put them in their dysfunctional homes, some of those kids are homeless. Some of them don't have Wi-Fi. They're giving them spending all this money, giving them Chromebooks, and then saying, oh, we're going to do online school. These kids aren't learning anything. They're not logging into their laptops from their cars that they're living in. And so for my friend who pulled their children out of the school, petitioned to, if you move your children to a different school district, and you don't get them released from the previous school district, you have to basically pay tuition as if it was private school.
Because that's ridiculous.
Follows the child, right? So the school gets a certain amount of money for the child. They would allocate it to the other school if that child moved. My friend, they wouldn't release his child. He was moving his kids because of all the COVID bullshit. Wouldn't release the child. It was like a whole battle. They didn't win. They lost. Like, the school didn't want to give up the funding. So really, like, they're saying, oh, it's for the kids. It's for what's best for the kids. What's best for those kids was getting them the fuck out of that school district. And now you release them, and now their family is put out. They have to put them in pay to put them in a different school. And it's just, it makes me so mad, because it's like, that's what's happening. Like, it's control, it's money, it's not what's best for the kids. It's just not. They're not.
That's like the government trying to raise your kids, which I think is a lot of what public school is these days anyway, is like the government trying to, I mean, like, public school alone, like, I felt like a fucking idiot growing up. And honestly, like, I get it. I do this whole little, like, liberty thought on the internet, and I kind of play like this dumb blonde, like the Paris Hilton of like, but like, this is the things, like, I genuinely felt very dumb growing up, because I never understood, like, math was not my strong suit. I have horrible raging ADHD, which I didn't realize until I developed a cocaine addiction, right? Like, and I was never meant to be in like a school. And so it's very hard to like unprogram myself from thinking that I'm actually dumb. Because I know that I'm not dumb. It's just like the things that I like and that I enjoy learning about, I didn't learn later in life away from the school system, because they don't want you to learn that shit. They want you to learn this stuff that is like going to indoctrinate you and just make you like a slave to the system. And I just always knew from such a young age, I tell people I was born libertarian for a reason, because just like, I just always felt like so off and out in public school. Like, I hated it. I hated school. I went on independent studies in high school because I just wanted to get it done, because I hated it. And like, I just felt so stupid. And I still to this day need to remind myself, like, you're not stupid. You're just interested in a very niche thing. And like, that's okay. But like, that's the problem with public schools. Like, if you're not smart in that setting and you're not a good test taker, and you don't like the things they're teaching you, you're going to feel like a fucking idiot growing up. And like, I'm still 24 and I still feel like an idiot, even though I'm probably smarter than like a lot of people that I went to high school with, even though I can't get an A on the SAT, like, who cares? Like, I'm smart in other ways, but it's like very hard to like unprogram yourself from that. So that's just like, I feel like entirely the public school system is just flawed for making kids either succeed to the system or just feel like a failure. Like, I feel like, you know, like, that's it. It's sad.
I was homeschooled, but Hannah, what are your take on like public schools, like with just like what you had like growing up?
My experience was actually surprisingly great. Like, I remember learning about the, Constitution and the founding fathers, and it all being very positive. And we learned about slavery, and we learned about, the Trail of Tears. Like, I feel like I got a very well-rounded education, but also my parents moved to a very nice area that had very good schools. So I know that I was fortunate in the education that I received in public school, because they were really good schools. So, I mean, but I also know the reality of what's happening in schools today. And I know that I'm not sending my children to school. I will be homeschooling my children. So, I mean, I see the reality of it. Luckily, I was fortunate enough to have a good experience, but I know that that's not the reality today. So I will not be putting my children in school.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to homeschool my kids. That's like ideal. Is there an echo?
No.
Okay. I'm just hearing things. But yeah, like, that's the ideal situation, is like, I homeschool my kids and I don't have them go through what I went through, because I promise that my kids are probably going to be retarded in the sense that I'm retarded, but I'm genuinely not. And I think people that like actually can see past that persona know that I'm like a very smart person. And when I get intrigued by something, I go all in. Like, I started studying libertarianism like probably after I went to the Joe Jorgensen rally. never have stopped for a single day. I'm always reading some sort of book. I'm always doing something, watching some sort of videos. And it's just like, you have to really find what you're good at. And I want my
What
future
you're
kids.
interested in too, like what you care about, you'll want to learn
Right.
about.
And fitness, like I this is slightly what I regret about being on Twitter and just, you know, everybody thinking that I'm like dumb. Like I'm very, very good at my job. I had an entire career since I was 18 years old, before I started doing online stuff, of fitness. I was the number 3 trainer in my district. Of all the gyms, I was number 3 of selling, of re-signs. Like I was fucking good at my job and I knew what I was doing. And that's because like fitness intrigues me and I love it. And it's my passion. And I love helping people be able to like be better versions of themselves, because at the end of the day, like you're not going to be able to help anybody if you can't be a better version of yourself. And I love fitness. And I hate that like I have this perception to the world where people just think I'm dumb, because I can literally help anybody with that. Like I'm very good at what I do, and I was good for a long time, and I just kind of went away from it. But it's like, it took me till after I graduated to start working out to realize that that's what I wanted to do with my life, you know, and I still kind of want to do that with my life. And like, you don't learn fitness stuff in high school, really. You learn PE, but they make you play sports that you don't want to play. And I'm over here like weightlifting, like learning all this stuff about like muscles and shit that like they don't teach you, because you're just not it's not your interest. And then you find what you want to do and you're like, wow, I love this. This is my passion.
Yeah. So that's one of the cool things about like homeschooling, is that you can cater the education to each individual child. So I know both of you are interested in like doing homeschooling, but I was homeschooled and it was really fantastic. Shout out to my mom, who decided that she was going to do that. Basically, when it was time for me to go into school, so Hannah, was kind of a similar situation to like what you had. And so, because ours wasn't just different districts, it was actually over state lines, because she was actually a public school teacher in the state of Maryland. And we lived in West Virginia at the time. And she wanted me to come over and go to the Maryland school. So then that way I'd be close to where she was working anyways. And I mean, she would have, it's not like we were expecting any buses to come get me or anything. No, like she just would drop me off at school and pick me up every day. But, you know, that was something that she was, you know, going to make work, you know, with her schedule as being a teacher and stuff. But, you know, that wasn't even like, so they literally would want to do the same thing and like charge tuition for me to go to public school. And she's like, okay, well, I'm not paying tuition for her to go to public school. That's so dumb. And in the county that we were in, because like I was already like learning to read by then. And they were, my mom asked the kindergarten, like, okay, like, what are they going to be teaching? And she's like, oh, well, like the letters and the numbers and the colors. And my mom's like, well, she already knows all of that. And I've already taught her all of that. And she's like, so what are you going to do? They're like, oh, well, we'll make her a helper and stuff. And so like literally holding me back from being able to learn what I wanted to next and like should be learning. You're really just going to set a kid back a year just because she's like, okay, well, how about you test her? So then that way she can be where she needs to be. And they're like, oh, well, she's too young. We don't test them at that age. It's like, okay, like, you know, it's like, all right, that's just not like very helpful. And so that's why she decided to homeschool. And then it went so well that I ended up being homeschooled like through my entire like high school and everything. And it was a fantastic experience. I was able to, in high school, I was able to work more jobs because I didn't necessarily have to do my schoolwork in the morning. Like I still had to do all my schoolwork, but I could take a morning shift if I needed to, like an opening shift for 4 or 5 hours. And then, you know, do the rest of my school later, when a lot of other kids, they could only do like the later part of the day for working. And when I was younger, when I was just able to progress through everything. Like when you're doing math, like if you can do the whole math page like correctly and it took you like 5 minutes, like, okay, let's just do another lesson. Let's get through faster. Or like it wasn't a thing for me like to get like bad grades, because like literally if I got something wrong, we just did it again. Like you cater to each child. And that's, you know, I understand that public schools do have limitations of like what specializing that they can do. And the thing is, like, even though I love, you know, homeschooling, we want our public schools to be good, because that's not something that every parent can handle doing. It certainly is not. And we know that. And we want our schools to be good. But letting things run the way they are, where it's the teacher unions calling all these shots, it's not favoring the education of the actual children. And I think that's like such a big problem. And I think you were going to say something.
Who, me?
Yeah. Sorry.
I just think, well, you like touched on just how, you know, it's how whatever you're catered to your age and your grade and whatever. It's unrealistic to think that all 11 and 12-year-olds are at the same level, like mentally and like learning, and like they all should be learning the same things. And so yeah, homeschool, you can like cater to that. And also I just wanted to touch on the fact that I always forget, but like I also did online school in high school for like a year and a half. I was modeling a lot in high school, and I worked for Nike a lot, and it was like a lot of early morning like to afternoon jobs. So I actually did online school for a while so I could do that, and like that was great. It was like kind of the same situation you had, Court, where you could like work in high school too. I had a job and I could like open at my job because all the other kids were at school. So yeah, that kind of gave me like homeschool flexibility because I didn't just do school at home.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, you were able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even crazy because like math was like my horrible. I'm just so bad at math. It's just I'm not a numbers person, and it's funny because my dad's an accountant. Actually super smart. Went to Oxford University, so I don't know why he gave me this shitty genetics. I got my mom's genetics on that. Thanks, Mom, who's watching this, for giving me your math genes. But like then I was like 20, 22 years old, right? And I started learning about like the stock market and like Roth IRAs and shit. And I'm like, this is the math that excites me. Why didn't nobody teach me about opening a Roth IRA when I was 16? Like there is math that I want to know. It's just like math that is like.
Wait, do you always say it IRA versus IRA?
I say IRA. Yeah, I don't know. Am I not supposed to say that? I say Roth IRA.
I mean, I don't. I've definitely never said IRA. I
Really?
don't know. Hannah, do you know?
Really?
Like,
I don't. I think I've only heard IRA. But
I always say Roth IRA. I don't know. That's what my.
Sarah out here making new words. We love to see it.
Yeah. But like, even if I'm not good at English now, right? I'm
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to give you a hard time.
Buy some fucking ArcG, some ArcK, some SPY. Like, let's go. That shit at 7% every year. You know, I'm like, okay, now I'm understanding math because like this applies to my life.
well, and the shit that they teach you in like high school math is not shit that you'll ever learn. I've never used the fucking Pythagorean theorem in my life. Like, that's not what they should be teaching you in high school.
Right, like
well, and they're also too, it's like in high schools they can differentiate. Like I don't know like how much in the public schools they did it, but like for instance, like in homeschooling, if you have a kid that if he wants to go to school to be a doctor, and I say that because that's what my track was when I like was finishing high school, versus if you have another kid that he wants to, after he's done high school, go get training to become a plumber. They don't necessarily need to be taking the same classes in high school. Your high school classes should be preparing you for what comes next. I mean, we want everyone to have a decent, education, but if you already know that you're going one direction or another, you should cater it. Because like I did need to know like some of the stuff that they taught because I was going to take advanced like math and science classes that I needed some of that. But for some of the other people that they know they're not doing it, like, no, let's like let them teach something that's going to be more useful to them instead.
Useful in high school, it would be how to finesse men for more money and history. Because truthfully, I'm like, all right, we got the OnlyFans thing going on and we got the politics thing going on. What are the two things that I need to get good at? It's money and it's fucking history. Like that's it. I wish I knew back then what I was going to be doing with my life in the future, because I would have just been able to focus and pinpoint on those things instead of having to learn now, but
yeah, vocational training is really good. I don't think they have vocational training for OnlyFans, and I don't think we ever will.
Hey, that's true. To be honest, it comes fairly easy when you have 13,000 followers. I don't really have much training for it, but it's fine.
Okay, should we stop talking?
Well,
maybe it's been fun tonight.
I know.
It's been the three of us, but it's been fun. I know Juliana wanted to join. I know she had just gotten off of work recently, so she probably might be able to come on for like later podcasts.
Two things. Number one, I've been seeing your guys' tweets about Alex. She's fine. Well, not mine, my mom. Unfortunately, she will not be joining us anymore, but she is fine. So I just wanted to throw that out there. We all keep in contact with her. We are her real life friends, not just her Twitter friends. But yes, Alex will not be joining us anymore. Two, there was something that I kind of regretted not bringing up on the last live stream that me and Hannah did. Courtney, I don't know if you watched it, but it's just kind of been on my mind as like a very, it's just bugging me, right? Because when you're in the LGBT community, you're allowed to say the word "forgot" and there's no problems. Everybody watching this knows that I'm not straight, right? Like, you guys want to know. I didn't think that me coming out as like a bisexual 20-year-old female from California was anything that important, because every fucking bitch here is bi. But like, you guys all know that I'm not straight, right? Like, I'm a part of the LGBT community. Very much. I was a part of that community. I've been pulling bitches since before they added any letters past the Q. Okay. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because it's been bugging me a little bit. If you think that I'm straight, you're very much wrong. And I get it. It's never been a big deal to have to come out to my family. Like, my mother knew that I was like half gay a long time ago. Like, I had this girl come over. She's like, "Oh, who is that girl with the small hands?" I was like, "Shut up, mom." But like, anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. If you're in the LGBT community and you're allowed to say that word, then I get a pass. And that's all that I wanted to say. Because that's it. I didn't think it was something that I ever had to announce. I assumed that people knew, just because, you know, I party and I'm, you know, a young girl that's hot. Of course I fuck bitches. But yes, I fuck bitches with pussies too. So that's all that I wanted to say. If I never announced that before, then I guess I'm coming out of the closet. And that's all. That's all that I wanted to say. I didn't think it was that big of a deal to have to announce. I don't think your sexuality is important or something that people need to talk about all the time. But that's it, because it's been bugging me. But anyway,
we love you, Sarah.
Gay.
Half gay. Half gay. That's bi, right? Half gay.
She's half gay. Okay, well, so next week it probably won't be at 4:30 because I start my new job. So I'm gonna be a corporate
day of the week.
Yeah, we need a new day. So I guess I'll do like a poll or something on Twitter.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk amongst ourselves, because like our
schedule
availability affects it a lot too.
Yeah, I'm free whenever. I don't work a real job, so
is Sundays cool for either of you guys? Because like my Sunday
football Sundays, let's go.
Like Sunday
football Sundays. Okay. We gotta watch football. But yeah,
Sunday is the one day that I consistently like have like the evening is always free. So
yeah, no, I don't like doing anything on Sunday, so I'm gonna say no to Sunday as well.
Yeah, maybe like a weeknight or something.
Yeah, we'll pick a weeknight. I'll put a poll up. And
yeah, I'm down for whatever.
Yeah, but we'll figure it out.
I will be back on Twitter soon. Also, just give me like one more week. I'm trying to build good habits in my life that I had before Twitter, and I'll be back soon.
We love it. We love it.
Sure. Yeah, I'll be back.
And also feel free. We do actually have, if you follow, let's see, maybe can one of you, like, I want to make sure I get the handle right. I think it's like at _LibertyLadies_, I believe is the Twitter page that we do have now, that I am in charge of, I haven't done that much with it yet. It's still, in the works, just like the podcast is, but we do have, and so we will be in the future posting more announcements on that, and I'll try to do a better job of like actually tweeting the link and everything. Today I was like under crunch because I was like at the grocery store, and I'm like, crap, I need to get home because we're gonna start. So
yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, we will see you guys next week sometime.
Yeah, so if you guys want to keep up with me right now, patreon.com/libertythought. I'm on Discord talking to the subs because, got to make that money. But I do love talking to you guys on Discord. So follow me there, subscribe, Libertitties, all that. It's good.
Libertitties.
I'll be back on Twitter soon, libertythought_, and then your guys' handles or whatever. Courtney's is just her name.
Yeah, mine is just my name, so you can
I never
find
put
me.
mine on there. You guys can find me.
Yeah, I think you guys all probably know. But
I'm so popular. I don't even need to advertise. Okay.
Also, shout out to Sarah's cool DeSantis shirt. Go DeSantis 2024.
We should have coordinated.
I literally, yeah, because Hannah and I both have shirts too. No, it was great. I literally was like talking to a guy in like the parking lot of like the grocery store and was like telling him about how DeSantis is like, it should be for 2024 because we were talking about politics as we were complaining about the prices of groceries. So
Amazing.
I think that this is our podcast now. This is the LGBT podcast.
Literally.
Liberty guns.
Podcast,
Oh my
let's
gosh.
Okay. Bye, guys.
See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.